To our panel in Carson City, do you wish to add to the question of how pervasive sexting is in the state of Nevada?
Jim?
Justice Seda, Justice Periguri, we don't see it in its blatant form in municipal court that I'm aware of, at least, but it may occur, in fact, in other contexts, as Judge Higgins was pointing out a while ago, in domestic violence cases, for example, possibly even in an assault kind of case. Contributing to delinquency comes to mind, but we're not seeing it explicitly in this jurisdiction. I would just say that in general, based on the readings that have been provided, Justice Seda, which a number of us have been through, of course, and otherwise, what we pick up from the streets, so to speak, I think it's so rampantly common that those of us in older generations have absolutely no concept, and I think Judge Cuccinelli was referencing this as well, of how prevalent and prolific it is. Most of us at this age level don't have the ability to the technical ability to do any sexting, I suppose, even if we wanted to, but I think it's absolutely rampant. One of the other, Judge Cuccinelli perhaps again was saying that even third graders are packing. I never see young people anymore without cell phones around. And I think it is just absolutely, totally rampant, and we're kidding ourselves if we don't assume that it is.
And I can say at the Supreme Court, we've not seen any adjudications at this point pertaining to sexting, but I'm sure they'll be percolating up.
Let me introduce a new panel member here in Las Vegas. Roger West from Green Valley High School has joined our panel, and I also am told that we have two students here live in Las Vegas who would like to ask a question of our panel members regarding sexting. Would the first student come forward? I'm going to ask you to step into the box and please state your name.
I'm Maui Guevaro, and I'm from Clark High School. And, well, while we've been talking, most of the attention has been placed on the sender or the one who distributes the text. But does the law have something which also delegates the responsibility on the person who sent the text or took the pictures of themselves in that situation? Because shouldn't that be considered when charging these criminal cases? Because not all the responsibility is on the person who received the text. Like you said, in the relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, the girlfriend is with an understanding with the boyfriend that she's sending it to someone who's intimate with her. So does the law consider that responsibility of the sender?
Thank you, sir. Anyone on the Las Vegas panel who wishes to respond to that? Ms. Brown.
Yes, the law does address that as well. There's a law called unlawful use of a minor in producing pornography. And people taking explicit pictures of themselves can be prosecuted under the law. One of the things that I think that kids don't realize is the impact it's going to have. Somebody's phone, it's not a matter of love, it's not a matter of trust. Somebody may have a picture on their cell phone at school and they're subject to administrative search. And your school administrators are going to be looking at that picture. They're going to refer it to me in the district attorney's office. I'm going to be looking at it. We're going to be consulting with your parents and showing it to your parents. The gentleman to my left is the judge. He's going to be looking at it. If you don't want all of us looking at it, don't take it and don't send it.
The second part to my question is, though, that isn't that an infringement of their private right to have those photos of themselves? Like, doesn't everyone have a right to have, their private things? Doesn't the government or law, when is law starting to infringe on the right of that person to have those things of themselves?
I think that the line between free speech and prohibited speech is always a dance in the legal profession. We always have to draw careful lines between what is free but inappropriate or free but ugly speech and what is a crime. But the legislature has specifically found that child pornography is a crime, and this is child pornography. And we work very hard to take a common sense approach to make sure that the charging decisions and the sentences reflect the nature of the act. We recognize that juveniles think differently, act differently, but nevertheless, it is child pornography, and that's what the legislature has said. So people need to be very careful when they're making those decisions.
Judge Boyd.
I was just going to briefly add, and that is the difference, is that if they're adults, it's one thing. If they're minors, however, it's another thing. We have statutes that says we as a society have drawn a line in this area with someone under the age. And so the mere possession of it, whether you take it, send it, receive it, and if you receive it and hold on to it, you've committed the crime. And so that's the point I guess we're trying to make here. You have a very good question, very valid question, but in this particular area, we draw a line based upon the age is really the main difference.
Justice Sato?
Yes, Chief Justice.
Here in Carson City, we received a tweet from one of the Carson City schools that's along the same lines of what we're discussing now. And the question is, can you be charged, and this is regarding sexting, can you be charged for words too or only pictures?
Panel members?
Actually, that was out of our courtroom, Justice Paragary. We had the student that asked it, but she didn't want to go on camera. But can it be? The picture alone is enough. You don't have to have words with it. If
The question was whether it was just words by themselves. I think the question is.
Can be charged. I mean, in terms of describing somebody as being pornography.
Yeah, whether sexting could include the written description of something. I think that's the question.
I don't think so. At least under the statutes that now exist in Nevada that I'm aware of, I don't think that would be enough. I think you'd have to have pictures that go along with it. I think you can have a potty mouth, and as long as you don't have pictures to go along with it.
And I agree. I have a tendency to agree with you. However, we'll just leave the Supreme Court judges, let them decide that. Okay.
Exactly. It's all. We're punting it to you folks.
We won't predetermine that issue.
Principal Lee.
But it's already been decided in the schools. And in the schools, it's not appropriate. And when it causes problems, it's not appropriate. Some of those First Amendment rights are a little bit tweaked when it starts infringing on education.